I am here to talk about my son, James Presley Martens. He deserves to be talked about. My beautiful boy was found under a bridge in a city that he was by himself in. So he was born on August 16th, which Elvis passed away on August 16th. And my parents are big Elvis Presley fans, so it was either putting the name Elvis in there or Presley, and yeah. So we all called him Presley or Bubba. So he has a lot of sisters. He has 3 older sisters and a younger sister. So he was the only boy and very loved and pretty spoiled. He was like, I called him my beautiful boy. He was the happiest kid. He would get excited about little things like, what's for dinner? And I would tell him, and he was always so happy. His sister's not as excited about that stuff. He was the first to notice if my hair was done. He loved his sisters. He loved his family. He was just kind and fun. When he started high school, he started wrestling. He had wrestled as a child, but not really for the school until he was a freshman. He did really good. He was fitting in with the kids, felt that camaraderie that kids get when they're in sports. He had a seizure when he was wrestling at a tournament where everybody saw. He hadn't had one before. So, actually, I take that back. He had one on Christmas Day, but he hadn't had one before in front of people. I have seizures, and when he was younger, I had had a couple, and he would tell me how it kind of traumatized him. We didn't think that he would have them because the doctor said it's really not hereditary, but he started having them as well. Life doesn't end just because you've been diagnosed with epilepsy, and you just need to get it balanced out, the medication right. It is a balancing act because when you first start the medication, if it does, you just have to take it and hope that it works. If it doesn't work, then they change it a little bit. So you're just kind of walking around waiting for something to happen. But I think that really, being a freshman and that happening, kind of was hard for him. He felt embarrassed. He'd had another one at some point at school. His freshman year, a lot of the seniors kind of took him under, the seniors that wrestled, they kind of took him under their wing. But then they graduated, they left, and I felt like he kind of felt isolated. Kids didn't necessarily want to take him to a party because if he had one, it's scary. It's scary for people that don't know how to deal. So that kind of, I think he felt alone. He just wanted friends. He wanted to be a fireman for a long time, and then he wanted to be in the military. And he couldn't do either one of those with having the seizures. I mean, if he outgrew them or he got them under control, there's a chance, but so it just kind of was frustrating all around. His senior year, he went to a alternative school. So part of it was online and part of it was in class. He wasn't comfortable. at the high school he was at. I think he was just kind of embarrassed. And so he graduated. We were all there at his graduation. And then he got a real job. And every payday, he would take me to lunch. He still lived with us, but he was excited to take me to lunch to talk about life. And he said, so this is it. This is life. Just getting up, going to work, and waiting for the weekend. And I was pretty much, but I always told him there's something good that happens every day and you don't want to miss it. The big things, it's easy to see. The little things, maybe it's a cup of coffee, maybe it's getting off of work, maybe it's the weather. He loves rainy days like me. But you just don't want to miss the little things because there's something good every day. He would act sometimes kind of loopy or kind of just not himself. I had found, and I'm so horrible with the whole drug and pill thing. I really don't know. You would think I should be an expert, but I found Xanax, I believe. Talked to him about it. He said his friends had given it to him. It wasn't a big deal. He drank some and would do marijuana, not at the house, but you knew he did that when he would go out, or he just got a different friend group, because there's certain people, and it's fine, because I think a lot of people that are on drugs or use drugs are similar to him. I think they're kind people, maybe not confident, maybe insecure, and so they look for other people, and they're more accepting in ways, probably. So he found a group of friends, and he moved in with them in an apartment. And I think that's when a lot of other things happened. When he would come around, he looked skinnier. He kind of looked nervous, or he never brought anybody around. He never stole from us. He never got moody where he would yell. You hear stories where it kind of takes over in that way. And he never did that. He was always the same. Sweet. He always worried about me and would do the dishes and take out the trash. And I love his sisters, don't get me wrong. They're amazing. I am so blessed to have all of these girls, but they mama's boy, I guess, right? They didn't do that stuff. It's okay. But, so he still did all of that. I just feel like more things just started happening, and it just kind of all goes into a blur because you're trying to help him. He'd been to a couple rehabs. The first time I think that it really hit me was he called and asked for, I can't even remember what it was, but I asked him where he was, and he told me to meet him on South Broadway. And he had been staying in an apartment. I don't know if it was abandoned with a bunch of people, but when I saw him, I just felt like I've lost him. Like, it just broke my heart. So I told his sisters, and one of them knew somebody that could help him get into a treatment facility. And she and the guy went and met with him and talked to him, and he wanted to go. Because he has seizures, they wouldn't take him for detox because they were afraid he would have a seizure. We don't really have a place here that you can take somebody to detox before you check them into treatment. We went to the hospital, waited all night, hoping he needs to detox so we can check him in. We don't do that here. So I just took him home and watched him all night to make sure he didn't have a seizure, and he didn't. And we checked him in and would go visit him, and he seemed like he was doing good. And then the next thing we know, he left. So it was kind of a back and forth like that. He would show up and, he would hug his dad and say, I'm tired, but I can't stop. And he would go to rehab again. And he would leave again. Probably the worst time that I can remember. Actually, he always looked forward to turning 21. His uncle works as a bartender. So when he was young, he just was like, when I turn 21, can I go and have a beer? I want to go have a beer with Uncle Matt. That was just something that meant a lot to him. But when he turned 21, he was living in a hotel with some people. He called me, and of course, he had lost his ID again, and he'd lost his phone. I mean, it just kind of was something that happened. So he called and asked if for his birthday, if he could have some money. And I said, I can't do that. I'm so sorry. I was like, I'll get you something, but I just can't. I can't give you money. He's like, okay, well, will you order pizza and send it here? So I tried to order a bunch of pizza so we could feed everybody. And that was all he got for his 21st birthday. A couple weeks after that, I was at work and I got a call from my mom. And she said that they had Presley, and he had been beaten up really bad. And so I go to my mom's house, and the story was he was walking on the sidewalk, and my daughter happened to be driving down the road and saw him. The cops were around him just trying to help him out. They were not being aggressive or mean. They were just trying to help him out. And so she pulled in, and that's my brother, and my parents went and they got him and asked him what he was doing. And he was trying to walk to my house because he knows we always have popsicles in the garage. And he was just trying to come by and get some because he was thirsty. But he had just been released from the hospital. It was in the summer. So it was in August. It was in the summer. It was hot. He had been released from the hospital because somebody had beat him up horribly. And he had walked barefoot, so his feet were blistered and had sores. His eye was red and swollen. At this point, he was kind of paranoid, thinking that, somebody big was coming to get him, So I got some information about this program in California, and it sounded great. And I do think it's a great program. You fly them out there, and somebody will pick them up from the airport and then take them to the first place for detox and counseling. Then they stay there for, a few weeks, and then they go to the next phase. And then they go to the next phase. So it just sounded like a really good program. And I feel like he did good for a while, and he made friends, other people that were there from all over Virginia and Missouri, which we're not far from, but Florida. He just had this group of guys that he became friends with. And if nothing else, that means the world to me because these kids have reached out to me. So I know they care about him. Although I love these friends, when one of them left, he left too. So he's in California. We don't know anybody. He doesn't know anybody there other than these friends who eventually went back home to where they were from. We got him back into a different facility, a treatment facility, and he did amazing. He sounded happy. He made some more friends. His counselor, he loved her. She's amazing. She still checks on me to this day. He called me one day from there. It was around Thanksgiving. And he said, Mom, I hate that I'm not there, but I am having a good time. We're having turkey, this, and, he was happy. But he said, we always start watching Christmas movies today, and now I can't watch them with you. And I said, well, you can watch it, and I can watch it. He's using my, whatever plan it was. He put it on there. And I said, and then it's like we're watching it together. So that was the plan. A few days after that, he called and he said that he couldn't do this life without me. That I was his favorite person. And I told him that I couldn't do this life without him, so he needs to remember that. When we were done with that, it was a couple weeks later, and he was needing to move on to his next phase. So he moved to another place, and he did not feel comfortable there. He was going to be spending Christmas there. So everybody in the family got all of the stuff together, presents. We wrapped them all individually so he would feel special, like he could open it like he was with us. And we sent the box. Well, he called and he said, Mom, I don't know. I'm not really comfortable here. I said, do you want us to not send the box? We're going to come and see you in a month. We want to spend time with you, but tell me what to do. No, Mom, send the box. Send the box. It's fine. So I sent the box, and I guess he had checked himself out at some point. It was December 6th. I was at the gas station, and on the front of my car, it said blessed. And this guy in front of me was like, are you a believer? And I said, yes. And he asked me what church I went to, and I told him because that was something very special for me and Presley. We would go to church together, and it just made you feel better. That was kind of one of our things that we would do. Besides going to the grocery store, which he always did with me, and having Italian night where we'd watch mob stories and eat spaghetti or whatever. So we did a lot of that stuff. I went home like normal, went to bed. It was probably about 10, and my husband's phone rings. So he answers it, and he gets up and he goes out of the room, and I just thought it was weird. Like, okay, what happened? He comes back in, and my daughter had called him. She was outside and said that she got a call that they found Presley. My husband came in, and he kind of was like, I said, what's going on? And he was quiet, and he goes, well, they found Presley. And I didn't even know he was missing. So I think I was just in a daze. You just think back to when we dropped him off in California. He had never been on a plane before, and he was so excited. He loved it. In fact, he said, when I get out of here, I want to travel. I want to find a job that I can travel because I love it. We dropped him off, and I gave him a hug, and I gave him a kiss, and I wish I would have held him longer. But my beautiful boy was found under a bridge by himself in a city that he was by himself in. The last or the next time that I saw my boy after our hug was in a box, because we have his ashes. So, but we never ever gave up on him. And I know he knows that. It took forever for the autopsy to come back, but I remember calling because you get all this paperwork. I mean, it's California; it's just different, and I mean, it just seems different. So I called and, oh yes, we're getting it. We finally got it done. We're getting it sent to you. It looks like it was, what they found in his system was fentanyl and meth, crystal meth. So, we kind of figured that it was. I mean, I'm not saying he was necessarily in treatment just for that, but I think he'd tried a lot of things, So I am sure that he knew that it was fentanyl. I don't think that he was thinking that it would end his life. I really don't. When you're young, you think you're invincible. But I do think that he did this, and I think he would have gone back to the treatment facility like he had before, or he would have called and come home. I don't think that he thought this was going to be his last moment. I know how much he loved me. I know if he could quit for me, he would have. I know that he didn't have control about that. So now he has nephews named after him. He has nieces that adore him, sisters that will always miss him. One of my daughters said that the world just took advantage of him because he was so sweet. And I think so. I do believe that. My other daughter, she said that subconsciously we must have known something like this was going to happen, which is crazy. She said, because we loved him so much. We all loved him so much. He was our baby, even though he wasn't the youngest. And he loved us so much. It wasn't one-sided. So, yeah. If God asked me, you can do this again, you're going to meet the most amazing child, most amazing boy. And he's going to love you more than anything. And he's going to touch your heart. And there's going to be hard times, but the love is so strong. But he will only live to be 21. Would you do it again? Would you pick this same child? And I would 100 times over. I would just hold him a little longer. Make excuses to go to the grocery store more. He's the only one that would go with me. My daughters, they didn't want to. I get it. But he could be sleeping and I'm going to the store and he'd hop up and go with me. I can't go to the grocery store now. I have to pick him up. I can't go into the grocery store still. But he was very loved and he gave love, and I wouldn't take back a second of it. I think the lesson, or what I want people to know, I would never do this for anybody other than my children. I'm very nervous, but I think that what I want people to know is every one of these people is somebody's child, somebody's brother, cousin. I mean, they matter. And when you see them, something happened to, cause this. Nobody's just going to choose this life. Even if they've been living there for years or homeless for years and they seem lost, I feel like people need to know that they were somebody's baby at one time. And I hope that all of them have felt love at one time. But even you just can't love them enough to save them. They have to save themselves. So that's it. Just be nice.